Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Diary of. It is Lou here.
Ashley.
Yes, as y'all know, we're going to get started. We're just going to get right into it. We're going to do a little, gratitude.
Little something.
See where you at with it. Yes. I'll start.
Okay.
Um, I'm grateful for PTO.
Mm.
Okay. And it's not even, what makes it more beautiful, it wasn't PTO that I put in for. It was just like, I was trying to do a switch. I was trying to be, a responsible adult. And they were like, you just want the day?
Oh, I love that.
Know something about me. There's never a time, even if I'm at negative 50 hours, will I ever refuse PTO. There's
Never.
never a time if I were to refuse it and go in and be like, man, it's a good thing I came in instead of stay in my home in my bed. Never. So,
I love
and I
that.
ended up needing it more than I realized. So,
You see how that worked out?
mm,
I love
sure
that.
did. Sure did.
Okay, let me start. I'm actually grateful that um the sun is staying out a instant bit longer.
You notice?
Yeah, like it's when I get out of work at 5,
It's
I'm
still
like,
there.
oh,
It's
she's
still
still
there.
here. Like she's not trying to go down. She's like still trying to struggle to stay up.
Yes, I
I said, oh,
agree.
I like that for us.
I
I
know.
love that for us.
I notice. It's a sign of life and hope, is not too far off in the horizon. No pun intended.
Yeah. Wow. With
Yes.
that being said,
hmm
Lou Boo, tell us what we are discussing today.
So, I've seen some things in the headlines, and I think it's kind of been a constant conversation within our community, aka Black people.
Mhm.
But I just feel like I've been hearing it more lately. And that is, you know, dating other races. And not just because obviously interracial dating has always been a thing, but, what does it mean when a Black person is dating a non Black person? Are they, especially the ones who are like, let's say, pro Black or, super for the cause? Well, can we say that they're fully for it? And I'm not saying yes or no. Are we saying, are they fully for the cause? Can they truly be champions or, leaders in the community if they, for the most part, like are marrying white? And this goes male or female because I got examples.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll take this route. I
Okay.
find that when a black man, step out their race and date a white woman, for
Yes.
example, it's like, how dare he date or marry a white woman
Mm-hmm.
when there's so many other sisters here? How dare he?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that narrative, right?
Right. Right.
And then when a black woman decides to be outside her race, it's like, oh, we are so happy for you, girl. We're so happy for you. Look at you. You're well taken care of.
Right. Right.
You're living your soft life. You're in your soft era.
Soft arrow with a hard wig. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. So I just want to mention the double standards with that too as well.
There really is a double standard, but I kind of get it. No, I really do get it.
I get it.
Because I feel like, and unfortunately, I think in both instances, it's using the white gaze to set the barometer on like success. You know what I mean? Um, if a Black man is doing it, it's like, ooh, he done got the prize because that white woman back in the day, maybe in still a lot of communities, by law, you can't touch her. You know what I mean? She is unattainable. She is Snow White. She's up there, off limits to you. You are never good enough, right? So to have her is like a status symbol. You know what I mean? You're touching forbidden fruit, right? But for I feel like a black woman, because we are like the bottom of the totem pole, we are fetishized,
Mm,
we are seen as objects,
mm.
we're seen as ghetto, we are known for our, big lips, wide hips, big ass, all of that. So you might be able to fuck us, but not necessarily marry us. We are not marriage material. We are not worthy of such things. So when we get chose, right? Um, it's almost like a status symbol too. Like you are good enough that the white man not only is willing to have you, but like claim you. When so many, even our own, don't want to for whatever reason. So it's kind of like, ooh, she's good enough.
Exactly. It's like she passed as a black woman.
Right.
She passed as a black woman. She's cool. She's cool for a black woman. So yeah, that's right.
Because the white man is so unattainable because he's never even checking for us.
Right.
Right?
So I just want to mention that little tidbit.
Right.
Um, I will say this. I will always go for my black man. I will
Mm-hmm.
always root for black love, be in a
Right.
relationship with a black man,
Yes.
all that jazz. However, dating a black man is not easy either. It comes with a lot of heaviness at times too as well. I feel like as a community we have so much trauma
Yeah.
and a lot of unresolved trauma that a lot of men haven't really addressed, that I don't think they know how to cultivate a healthy relationship at times.
Yeah.
So it's easier for women to be like, I'm a see what else is out there. Now, mind you, now I'm all for. Let me put this disclaimer. I'm all for love. Love is love. Love is
Yeah.
love is love. Date whoever you want to be with. Marry whoever you want to be with. I'm all for it. If I see some white man that's just like, oh yeah, this is it, I'm gonna go for it. So let's make that clear.
Right.
But I do feel like there's just a lot of unresolved trauma in general, just to make that a black relationship work. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's just not easy sometimes.
Yes. I mean, I feel like in any situation, relationships aren't easy. And I think a lot of it is um, having compassion and empathy and consideration. You know what I mean? If it was an interracial relationship, you know, I feel like someone who's non-black, you have to be considerate of that person's experience. You know, when they're like, "Oh, this person's looking at me a certain kind of way," or if your girl or your guy's getting a little extra attitude, but you literally don't see it. You know what I mean? We're not making it up. Um, Certain things, it's just like you'll never know, and understand that you'll never know. You know what I mean? And that's one of those things that when you're both black, for the most part, you already know. There's nothing that
You
needs to
know,
be said. When we give each other that look, like, did you just speak what I just? Yeah, mm-hmm.
you know.
You know. And I feel like for a lot of instances, when people want to be like, I don't see color or disregard it, or, like, please make no mistake, you can marry a Black person, have, you know, Black children, still be racist, still be insensitive, still, carry all these things, even when you are procreating with someone of a
Absolutely.
different race. Like, you are not sensitive to it. You know what I mean? We're not even going to get into like people who adopt children of different races and don't properly immerse them, or we're not going to get into that. But like, I'm not also going to get all Dr. Umar, but there is something that, I guess can be said for when you think of like marriage, right? It is an institution. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, but it's also an institution. And for a long time, historically, people get married for status, to maintain certain levels, you know, in circles and wealth, wealth building
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. So when, a non-Black woman would be like, nope, I'm not marrying him because he has to do this, this, and that and provide for me, or I want to be a stay-at-home wife because that's his job and she is a pampered princess. That's fine, right? But a Black woman just saying, bro, just have a job, just have an income. She's a gold digger. She's coming for my money. Why can we not live that pampered life without having to struggle, without having to get cheated on, ridiculed, all these outside children, to just be, to just be, to just be.
And I find it interesting that it's like that. When it's a non-black person, it's like, yeah, I am here to be that stay-at-home mom,
Right.
take care of the home, or honestly just be that woman on his arm. A lot of times it's that too. A lot of times it's just like, I'm just trying to be on his arm. And when it comes to us as black women, it's like, how dare we even think of things like that? How dare we even want that same kind of lifestyle? Why why shouldn't we? What's the issue with that? Um I just I feel like we all, women as a whole, deserve what we want and how we want it. What we deserve to feel safe in a marriage, or what we feel is needed in our relationship,
Yeah.
without it being ridiculed for it, or being like we're taking advantage of the black man.
Oh, right. Right.
All of a
Taking
sudden
it.
we're taking advantage of them, and it's like, wait, how are we taking advantage of you?
Yes. We're either taking advantage or we are responsible for holding you down in every which way possible, taking all your trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to be your provider. I'm not going to say all, but your provider, your mom, your wife, the mother to your children, um, all these things, and you're giving the bare minimum.
It's bad.
But you gonna bend over backwards for the next one.
Absolutely. Exactly. Why
Is it
is
because you saw your mama go through it and she managed and she looks unscathed? Honey, she's suffered. She has suffered. Please stop.
And that's the whole point. We have to try to break that perpetuation of suffering in a relationship.
Yeah.
That's what we see, and we think
Yeah.
that's what should happen.
Right.
No.
Right.
No, if y'all want a soft boy life, get you a soft boy life too. We deserve our soft girl like both of us in a
Right.
relationship.
Right.
Should be in our soft era.
Yes. Yes. And to the point of, I'm just going to speak on, the Black independent women. Um, don't call us that, because a lot of things that people do is a necessity, not a choice. You know, it's kind of like that saying, I didn't know I was that strong until I had to be. So, unfortunately, whether it was crack in the 80s or different influences and men being taken out of the home, whether it's through prison, whether drugs, jail, or even let's say with WIC, you technically can't have a man on, if you're getting, let's say, housing, because then you don't qualify. So there's a lot of systemic things there, yes. But that forced the woman to have to do. She had to do because she still has kids. We don't have the option of just walking away or being a part-time parent or a weekend parent. So now we're forced to be hyper independent. Then we see it from our mom or our grandmother or things like that. Or even sometime when the father's in the home, physically there, but that's kind of the extent, even though he still gets the big piece of chicken and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So understand our independence and our lack of tolerance for bullshit is a choice that we didn't have. But because we have to survive and make do, and if I seen it, I'm either going to perpetuate it or I'm going to repel against it hard. So
Mm-hmm.
understand, if I smell bullshit from a mile away, baby, you're not going to see me. Okay? If I feel like I'm being used and abused and taken advantage of, nah, nah, I'm good.
Just going back on that, I get annoyed when a man tell me, "Oh, I love the fact that you're independent." I get annoyed. I get upset.
Because that's you really. But tell
Oh,
me why you're upset.
I love when you're independent. I love that you're independent.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is what I had to do because I had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
I had to figure this all out on my own. And guess what? You being in this relationship with me, you're not helping me either. Like, I used to deal with that a lot where I'm like, listen, I am hyper independent. I always
Yeah.
rephrase it. I'm like, I'm hyper independent because I haven't had anyone,
Right.
So therefore, if you see this, how can you take the load off of me?
Right.
Um, but it's more of such an ideal for a lot of our black men to be like, oh, but you're independent, and it's like, no, no,
Yeah.
not by choice,
Right. Right.
not by choice.
I agree.
Oh, child.
Yeah. So to shift it a little bit, right? In some of the examples, because I've seen interviews with people like Killer Mike, a rapper who's very, I guess, political, and he's just like, he's in his community and he married a black woman and he's raising a black family and all these things, right? But then you might have, like, let's say, we're not even gonna go into Jonathan Majors because he's still looking for his Coretta, and good luck to that man. But if we talk about, let's say, a Childish Gambino, if we talk about a Quinta Brunson, who it might not be well known, but she is married to a white man.
Mm,
Baby, let's talk about, let's say, even Bob Marley, because everybody knows Rita, but there's a Cindy.
there is a Cindy. There is a Cindy.
And Cindy ain't black.
Cindy in black. And
Right.
Cindy try to act like, you know, she's the one
Right. Right.
when she's not, you know. Um, yeah. I'll say this to shift it a little too. We
Mm-hmm.
need people like Dr. Umar in our community.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I will say that much. I know he can be extreme.
Yes.
I know he can be a lot, and his delivery is can be very passionate. I'm going to say
I
passionate.
like that.
His delivery can be very passionate. But
Mm-hmm.
we need people like him in our community to remind us about our community and why we should really try to stick together. You know?
Yeah.
Like I said, there's times when I'm like, oof, oof, as I clutch my pearls. But it's refreshing to see people like him pro black.
Right.
You know, I'm not here agreeing with him, calling other people's significant others nobodies, X, Y, and Z.
Well.
But I do appreciate when we do have people like him in our community because it's
Mhm.
needed, because
Yeah.
it needs to be reminded to
Yes.
us.
Yes. I think, yes, you have to remember, and not to take away from anyone else, but Black is beautiful. We are the standard. We are the mold in which everything else essentially has been made compared to please don't get it twisted. Those like corsets and things like that happened, in Europe all those years ago. It's because they saw Black women's shapes, and it's to emulate that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, they saw how when we did our hair, they were like, "Oh no, y'all too fancy." Even the slave or enslaved, even the enslaved Africans, and they were like, "Y'all got to wrap it up." So when we wear a turban, that comes from that because we weren't allowed to show our hair, but baby, we still got style and grace. So we
Mm-hmm.
gonna make this look good regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you see different things and you see, a Kardashian, the Kylie Jenner with the lips, and all of a sudden, now they want to be more aesthetically pleasing to their own kind, so they stop putting in fillers. They have a butt reduction or whatever. But when you was popping and everyone was checking for you and you gained your popularity, you wanted to look like a Serena Williams baby.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like, are you trying to look for us and someone else?
That's just to me what it seems like. But also, can I even mention too
Mm-hmm.
as well how, for example, I was having a conversation recently
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, yeah, I'll date outside my race. First thing, oh, you'll have beautiful babies.
Uh-huh.
Oh, why can't I have beautiful babies with a black man?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Mm-hmm.
can't I? Why?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with just having a black baby? Why my baby got to be interracial to be beautiful?
Right.
Why is that the first thing that comes to our minds
Right.
when we're discussing interracial marriages, dating, children? Oh, you can have beautiful babies.
Right.
I cannot wait to have blackity black children. I cannot wait to have blackity black beautiful
Yes. Yeah.
children.
Yes. Man, I don't know. It's like I feel like there's that hold because the clawing to have a proximity to whiteness in some kind of way is sad and disturbing on so many levels. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. I don't know because you see certain relationships and you can see that there's a power dynamic that is not in favor of the more melanin person, oftentimes. And there have been people denied, like, you're not their parent because you're almost too black, as though people don't know how genetics work. Um, Black is I don't know. Black is beautiful. I love my black babies. We are amazing. And I think
Period.
even they were looking at, because there's just so many examples, like Diana Ross's kids or even Bob Marley's kids. They're like, wow, within 1-2 generations, it's like the blackness is gone.
First of all, Bob Marley parents, one is black and one is white.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. But yes, yes. Um, but just, and love is love, like we said. But sometimes it feels like it's not just oh, we just happen to work together and we just fell in love. It feels sometimes like an active push against um, your kind. Um, and I don't know, sometimes it just be feeling like, I mean, I'm not, they need to also understand we're not always checking for them just because you're a black man, just because you're tall. And sometimes we're not always checking for you.
No.
You know what I mean? But I also think it becomes an issue when, as a black woman, we are thrown under the bus unnecessarily just so you can put someone else on a pedestal. Like, why am I in it? Like, how we get there? Why
Right.
why did you feel that was necessary? Like, show me a picture of what your mama looked like. What did she do to you? What therapy are you avoiding in that area? Because it's like a vitriol sometimes. You know what I mean? If you're meeting a certain kind of woman, speak on that. But you ain't met every black woman out here where, the generalizations, please stop. Please stop.
Bloop.
Because, let's say when Tiger Woods' wife came after all his money or whatever, he was still seen as the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't seen as a gold digger.
Nope. All of a sudden, that disappeared, that idea.
Mm-hmm.
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 Wow.
But even in, let's say, the highest, well, second highest, like Vice President Kamala Harris, she is married to a white man, right? So when someone in those kind of positions, some may argue you really can't be for us because you're not even, like, you're laying next to your oppressor. You know, is there validity in that? What do you think?
Well, I can say that we're far. It's been years
Mm-hmm.
past
Yeah.
that we can feel that we may not be dealing with or in a relationship with our quote unquote oppressor,
Right.
especially if they feel like that person can understand them, may not understand, or at least can be a confidant to them, although they
Mm-hmm.
do not understand the Black experience.
Right.
They will never understand the Black experience.
Right.
So for that, I can say, okay, cool. I cannot say for, I cannot generalize that to
Right.
every non-Black person.
Yes.
Um, I will say, like we've mentioned earlier, there are some people who they can have a Black partner
Mm-hmm.
and claim they're not racist, but they are. They just so happen to like this Black person.
Right.
So in that case, I can be like, well, you're laying next
Mm-hmm.
to an oppressor.
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a case by case thing
Yeah.
for me. And that's just me. Um, it's interesting when you were mentioning that because even when I was in a relationship with a Haitian dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about like a time I was like briefly dating like a Dominican Puerto Rican dude. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, how dare you date someone from that side who was oppressing Haiti? He's like, how can you do that? Like, I was like, me just like,
Like what I do.
oh, what I do?
Yeah.
But he took it so personal. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would never, ever, ever do that. Like, I can never do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I feel like we're a bit progressive now in our time. And I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't automatically think of it that way. But some people are very just black and white.
Yes.
So there are people who's going to be like, well, why are you laid up against your oppressor? You know,
Mm-hmm.
me, I think of things a bit gray sometimes. How about that?
Life is, I think, I think life is very great. I think it's one of those things where you have to check somebody's heart, you know,
Yeah.
in romantic and friendships and everything, because on surface, it's sure generalized because one person can speak for a whole entire country that they don't even live in. Sure, that makes sense. Um, but I think there just has to be work done. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with race conversation. People are uncomfortable in general in having tough conversations in relationships on menial things. So I think it's one of those things where I feel like the Black person has to really assess, because if you do think about legacy and community, you want
Mm.
to make sure who you are, and your plus one to the cookout
Mm-hmm.
is really there to add to it, appreciate it, not appropriate, not make fun, not mock, and help build it in the event that you guys have children, because their walk is going to be honestly different from either parent. You know what I mean? That's like when you go to, like, what was it when, like, Amber Rose and she identified as white, like, us as Black people, when you got that one drop, we gonna claim you. But it's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's wrong, I think, to deny them that other part too. Like someone like, let's say, a J. Cole and Alicia Keys, who were raised by their white moms. And times where their Black dads were not present. Yes, they are still very Black now, but that's probably a testament to their white mothers who made sure they did the work and maybe surrounded them by those things,
Yeah.
and not hold, that Black man, hold him responsible for a decision that that man made. You know what I'm saying? So especially in America, because it's different, I feel, in other places, you can't be mad at that. Like, that was their experience. And if that parent wasn't there doing the work to show them what it means to be their version of Black, how can you fault them? How can you take that card away? So when, that person is willing to do the work and recognize those differences and understand what our plight might be sensitive to those things, and not only be like, I'm not racist, but sometimes they might have to be anti-racist. Maybe they got to get up in a white person's face and check them,
Yep.
because it's not the same if we do. And we tired. We're tired. So I think, like you said, it is in a case by case basis, and you really just have to be able to see where their heart is, even sometimes if their parents are racist, because you can't always assume, because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But are they willing to stand up? Are they willing to cut certain communications and boundaries because you shouldn't be subjected to that, or your children?
Ooh, that's a whole nother conversation.
It is. It
That's a whole
is.
nother conversation.
Yeah.
Um, but that's an interesting conversation because it takes a very strong-willed person to have those kind of boundaries with their family,
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
parents, and I'm actually curious to have someone on
Hmm.
like in an episode with that. So whoever's listening,
I guess this is part one, and we're gonna have a part two, girl.
yeah, I'm actually curious to see how people or couples kind of handle that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, ooh. Mm. But yeah. Um, any last thoughts, Marla?
um, I guess love who you love, but sometimes when you're part of a community as a whole, it's complicated. It's complicated. I don't know. How I feel today might not be how I feel tomorrow. You'll hear something and be like, ooh, that makes sense. But if I had a choice, and I do, I'm gonna go black. Never say never, but I'm gonna go black. Hmm.
I will always go for my black man.
Yeah.
I will always go for my black man. I will always go for my black man.
Yes.
Y'all just need to and this is me generalizing. I just feel like as a community we just need to do better and
Yeah.
really on how we handle and manage each other and
Mm-hmm.
especially in relationships for them to thrive. That's
Yes.
all. But I will always go for a black man. Now I'm not saying that my non-blacks don't be looking good either. They be looking good.
This
But
is
for the culture,
the culture.
I'm going for a black man.
Yes. Yes. Listen, my children are black, and I'm not having no more. So I done my part. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
sure you always say that in existence that I'm not having anymore because I feel like you got to always kind of like compared to what other people be trying to throw your way. Just always.
Yeah.
But on that note, y'all, let us know your thoughts about dating in other races. Um, comment, like, subscribe. And yeah, till next time, everyone.
Yes.